Released on the 31st of March, 1999, 10 Things I Hate About You turns Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew into a Seattle high school comedy where a new kid can't date the girl he wants until anybody, agrees to date her impossible, ferociously antisocial older sister. Disney's casting directors passed on Ashton Kutcher, Josh Hartnett, Katie Holmes, and Eliza Dushku to build the film around two nearly unknown actors instead, and the gamble paid off. It opened in second place at the box office, behind only The Matrix. Here's what almost nobody knew for years afterward. Two of these co-stars were secretly dating during filming, even though their characters barely share a scene. One actor got tagged by the press as a literal cult leader, and he's still fielding that question on podcasts in 2026. One actor survived a coma doctors weren't sure he'd wake up from. And right now, more than a quarter century later, a real sequel is quietly moving forward. One the director says will include a tribute to a co-star who never lived to see how far this movie would go. So, where did the cast of Padua High School end up? Julia Stiles plays Kat Stratford, the senior with zero interest in dating, a chip on her shoulder about peer pressure, and a real hurt underneath all of it that only comes out in the film's most quoted scene, a breakup poem, assigned as a riff on Shakespeare's Sonnet 141, that she reads aloud in English class. Kat is the reason critics still point to this as one of the rare studio teen comedies with an actual feminist backbone. Julia Stiles was born Julia O'Hara Stiles on the 28th of March, 1981, in New York City, and started performing at 11 with the experimental theater troupe La Mama before landing her first film role at 15. She'd spent years getting rejected from commercial auditions for not being bubbly enough, so when the Kat script landed on her desk, she said she was desperate for the part specifically because her default anger finally read as an asset instead of a flaw. Director Gil Junger has since let slip a small twist behind that famous poem scene. He says Stiles nailed it in a single take, and when he asked afterward where that raw, tearful performance came from, she told him she'd been picturing someone she was deeply in love with at the time, and according to Junger, that person wasn't Heath Ledger. It was her actual co-star, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, even though Kat and Cameron barely share a scene in the finished film. After 10 Things, Julia Stiles built a run of teen-era leads in Save the Last Dance and Down to You, then moved into the Bourne franchise as CIA operative Nikki Parsons across 3 films, a role she's credited with reinventing the action genre for female characters. She earned Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for her arc on Dexter, married camera assistant Preston J. Cook in 2017, and is now raising 3 children with him. In 2025, she made her feature directing debut with the drama Wish You Were Here, and in a 2026 interview, she said she'd happily film a tongue-in-cheek ad reprising Kat if the right offer came along. That's not a sellout, that's clever. She is 45 years old as of July 2026. Heath Ledger plays Patrick Verona, the mysterious Australian transfer student whose reputation for arson and jail time turns out to be mostly rumor, hired to date Kat for cash, and ends up actually falling for her. His Bleacher serenade of Can't Take My Eyes Off You, shot in just 3 takes, is one of the most replayed scenes in teen movie history, and the song almost wasn't the one used at all. Producers nearly went with the Divinals' I Touch Myself instead. Heath Ledger was born Heath Andrew Ledger on the 4th of April, 1979 in Perth, Australia, to Sally Ramshaw, a French teacher, and Kim Ledger, a racing driver and mining engineer. He left school early at 16, drove across the country from Perth to Sydney chasing acting work, and had already starred in the Australian crime thriller Two Hands when 10 Things I Hate About You became his first American film, the role that introduced him to a Hollywood that had barely heard his name. After 10 Things, Heath Ledger deliberately resisted being boxed in as a teen heartthrob, following it with The Patriot, A Knight's Tale, and Monsters Ball before earning his first Oscar nomination for Brokeback Mountain in 2005. He had a daughter, Matilda, in 2005 with his partner at the time, actress Michelle Williams. In 2007, he completed his performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight, but he never saw it released. He was found dead in his New York apartment on the 22nd of January 2008 at 28, the result of an accidental overdose of prescription medications. He was posthumously awarded the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the role, becoming only the second actor in Oscar history to win an acting award after death, following Peter Finch's win 33 years earlier. His final film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, was completed by Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell as a tribute, with all 3 donating their salaries to his daughter. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Cameron James, the new kid at Padua High whose crush on Bianca sets the entire plot in motion, guided through the school's social minefield by his friend Michael. Off-screen, Gordon-Levitt reportedly had his own real romance with Julia Stiles quietly running in the background, one so under the radar that even people on set barely noticed, since Cameron and Kat rarely share a scene. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was born on the 17th of February, 1981, in Los Angeles, the son of 2 founding members of the Progressive Jewish Alliance. He'd already spent several seasons playing Tom Tommy Solomon on Third Rock from the Sun by the time he filmed 10 Things at 16, making him one of the more established names on set alongside Gabrielle Union. He walked away from acting almost entirely in the early 2000s to study French literature and history at Columbia University, a hiatus he's described as necessary because, in his words, nobody in Hollywood was letting him be creative on his own terms. After returning to film in his 20s, Joseph Gordon-Levitt rebuilt his career from the ground up in small, strange noirs like Brick before Christopher Nolan cast him in Inception and The Dark Knight Rises, and he picked up Golden Globe nominations for 500 Days of Summer and 50/50. He founded the collaborative production company Hit Record in 2010, which has since won 2 Emmy Awards, wrote and directed his own film Don John, and continues to work regularly with Brick director Rian Johnson, including a voice cameo in 2025's Wake Up Dead Man. He married robotics entrepreneur Tasha McCauley in 2014. They have 2 sons and a daughter. He is 45 years old as of July 2026. Larissa Oleynik plays Bianca Stratford, Kat's younger sister, the sophomore who insists she'd rather be kicked in the shins than seen as shallow while spending most of the movie doing exactly the shallow things she claims to hate. Bianca gets the film's most satisfying beat when she finally throws a punch of her own at Joey Donner in the parking lot. Larissa Oleynik was born on the 7th of June, 1981 in Santa Clara County, California, to a nurse and an anesthesiologist of Ukrainian descent. She'd already spent 4 seasons as the title character of Nickelodeon's The Secret World of Alex Mack and appeared in The Babysitter's Club before landing Bianca. In a nice piece of full circle trivia, Oleynik went on to actually attend Sarah Lawrence College, the exact school Kat name drops as her dream school in the film. After 10 Things, Larissa Oleynik reunited with Joseph Gordon-Levitt on Third Rock from the Sun as his character's real-life girlfriend, then built a steady career of recurring television roles, including Cynthia Cosgrove on Mad Men, plus stints on Pretty Little Liars and Hawaii Five-0. In 2013, she was granted a restraining order after a stalker became so fixated on her that he legally changed his own last name to match hers. She returned to Nickelodeon in 2023 for the comedy Aaron and Aaron and has a 2026 stage run lined up in Santa Fe. She is 45 years old as of July 2026. Andrew Keegan plays Joey Donner, Padua High's self-obsessed aspiring model who pays Patrick to date Kat purely so he can go after Bianca himself and gets flattened by her fist for his trouble. It's the kind of gleeful, entitled villainy that actually earned Keegan a Teen Choice Award nomination for Choice Movie Villain. Andrew Keegan was born Andrew Keegan Haying on the 29th of January 1979 in Los Angeles to a Colombian hairdresser mother and a Nebraska-born voice actor father. He was already a familiar face from Camp Nowhere, Seventh Heaven, and Party of Five when 10 Things made him one of the era's defining teen heartthrobs, and he reunited with Julia Stiles the following year in another modern Shakespeare adaptation, O. Keegan's post-fame story took an unexpected turn in 2014 when he founded Full Circle, a Venice Beach spiritual community operating out of a former Hare Krishna temple. Between yoga sessions and community dinners, the press quickly branded it a cult, a label that intensified after a 2015 raid by California alcohol regulators over unlicensed kombucha sales made national headlines. Keegan has spent years pushing back on the description. As recently as a February 2026 podcast appearance, he was still calling the cult leader story clickbait, insisting Full Circle, which closed down in 2017, was simply a really cool community center for a bunch of people in Venice for a few years. He shares a daughter, Aya Rose, born in 2016, with his longtime partner, Arista Ilona. He is 47 years old as of July 2026. Gabrielle Union plays Chastity, Bianca's gossipy best friend, who warns her that Joey has more than a dance planned for prom night. It's a small supporting part. Union was 26 by the time the film hit theaters, older than most of her castmates and already several TV guest spots into her career. Gabrielle Union was born on the 29th of October, 1972, in Omaha, Nebraska, to a phone company manager and an Army sergeant. The very next year, her role as cheer captain Isis in Bring It On turned her into a genuine star, and she built a run of romantic comedy leads through The Brothers, Deliver Us from Eva, and Bad Boys 2, before headlining and producing the BET drama Being Mary Jane for 6 seasons. Gabrielle Union has written candidly in 2 best-selling memoirs about years of miscarriages and a diagnosis of adenomyosis before she and husband Dwayne Wade, whom she married in 2014, welcomed their daughter Kavya via surrogate in 2018. Their blended family includes 3 of Wade's children from a previous relationship and his nephew, of whom Wade is legal guardian. In March 2026, Union was named Global Ambassador for Maternal Health by the Johns Hopkins affiliated organization HPAGO, turning her own fertility struggles into advocacy for women without access to basic prenatal care. She is 53 years old as of July 2026. If you're loving this look back at the 10 Things I Hate About You cast, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more Where Are They Now content about your favorite classic films. David Krumholtz plays Michael Ekman, Cameron's fast-talking best friend who helps hatch the whole scheme to pay Patrick to date Kat in the first place. Krumholtz was already a Broadway veteran by 13, having landed a role opposite Judd Hirsch in Conversations with My Father after simply tagging along to a friend's audition. David Krumholtz was born on the 15th of May, 1978 in Queens, New York, to a postal worker and a dental assistant in what he's described as a very working-class, almost poor Jewish family whose grandparents had emigrated from Poland and Hungary. Before 10 Things, he'd already played Bernard the Elf in the original Santa Claus and appeared in Ang Lee's The Ice Storm. After 10 Things, David Krumholtz starred for 6 seasons as mathematician Charlie Eppes on the CBS procedural Numbers, then rebuilt himself into one of prestige television's most reliable character actors, with roles in The Deuce, The Plot Against America, and Oppenheimer, where his performance as physicist Isidore Rabi earned some of the best reviews of his career. He revealed in 2014 that he had quietly survived thyroid cancer years earlier, requiring the full removal of his thyroid. He married actress Vanessa Britting in 2010. They have 2 children, and he'll next be seen playing Zor-El, father of the title character, in 2026's Supergirl. He is 48 years old as of July 2026. Larry Miller plays Walter Stratford, Kat and Bianca's widowed, wildly overprotective obstetrician father, whose entire parenting philosophy boils down to one rule: no dating until graduation. It's Miller's exasperated delivery that turns a fairly thin dad joke role into one of the film's funniest performances. Larry Miller was born Lawrence John Miller on the 15th of October 1953 and had already built a reputation as a stand-up comedian and character actor, with credits in Pretty Woman's Seinfeld's classic Doorman episode and Christopher Guest's mockumentary troupe by the time he played Walter, a role he remains the only cast member to ever reprise, on the short-lived 2009 ABC Family television adaptation. In April 2012, Larry Miller nearly died. After taping a podcast episode with Adam Carolla, he lost his footing outside a bar, fell, and struck the back of his head on the pavement. He slipped into a coma and spent a month on life support at UCLA Medical Center. His spokesperson said at the time it was a miracle he woke up. He made a full recovery, resumed his podcast the following January, and has kept working steadily ever since, including supporting roles in The Princess Diaries and its sequel. He has been married to television writer Eileen Kahn since 1993. They have 2 children. He is 72 years old as of July 2026. Allison Janney plays Ms. Perky, Padua High's chipper, secretly writes erotic novels guidance counselor, a small role in a year that turned out to be a genuine turning point for Janney's entire career. Allison Janney was born on the 19th of November 1959 in Boston and raised in Ohio, training at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London after Paul Newman personally encouraged her toward acting while directing her in a college play at Kenyon. In a coincidence she couldn't have planned, she had already appeared in a New York Shakespeare Festival production of The Taming of the Shrew. The very play 10 Things I Hate About You is based on, years before playing a small role in its movie adaptation. The same year 10 Things came out, Allison Janney also appeared in Best Picture winner American Beauty and launched The West Wing as press secretary C.J. Craig, a role that won her 4 Emmys. She has since added 2 more Emmys for Mom and 1 for Masters of Sex, and took home the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2018 for I, Tonya, dedicating the win to her late brother Hal, who died by suicide in 2011 after years battling addiction. She currently stars as Vice President Grace Penn on Netflix's The Diplomat and as a 1960s socialite on Apple TV Plus's Palm Royale. She is 66 years old as of July 2026. Susan May Pratt plays Mandela, Kat's Shakespeare-loving best friend from the school's small, tight-knit chess and poetry crowd, instantly recognizable in her homemade prom dress while everyone else wears store-bought gowns. Susan May Pratt was born on the 8th of February 1974 in East Lansing, Michigan, and made her screen debut just a year earlier in a 1998 episode of Law & Order. 10 Things was only her second film role. She followed it almost immediately with a lead part in the ballet drama Center Stage. After 10 Things, Susan May Pratt built a long career as a dependable guest star across shows including Charmed, Private Practice, Mad Men, and Masters of Sex. She married Canadian actor Kenneth Mitchell, later known for Star Trek Discovery and Captain Marvel, in May 2006, and the couple had 2 children, Lila and Callum. Mitchell was diagnosed with ALS in 2018 and continued acting for years afterward, adapting his roles to his changing mobility. He died in February 2024 at 49 after a 5.5-year battle with the disease. Pratt has continued working in television in the years since. She is 52 years old as of July 2026. More than a quarter century after Padua High School let out for the last time, this cast has covered nearly every version of what a Hollywood career and a life can become. Oscar wins, franchise blockbusters, quiet tragedy, genuine reinvention, and at least one actual religious controversy. And with a new chapter, 10 Things I Hate About Dating, reportedly already in the works, complete with a planned tribute to Heath Ledger, it sounds like Padua High isn't quite finished with us yet. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos exploring your favorite casts from the past.